I'm Donald Colton, and I was the director of the Heinz Chapel Choir from 1960 to 1965. I learned about the job through a campus placement office. So, yes, I came specifically. My appointment was to be the choir. And he had been directing the choir for 22 years, and it is a tiring work. So he was ready to give it up, but he really wasn't ready to give it up. But the choir was something special to him, and he slowly let it come to me. So in a way, he was giving up a lot, but there was never any problem in competing for the interest of the students. They loved them, and they were happy with me, I guess, as well. Anyway, I was grateful to him for letting me do it my way, and I did my best to continue to do it his way.
It was enjoyable. A contrast between older Pop Finney and Don, he was newly in from Minnesota.
Don was a lot of fun. He had a different sense of humor than Pop. Pop had a dry sense of humor, and you had to sort of pay attention because sometimes you had to think about what he had just said. Don was right out there.
Yeah, it was enjoyable singing, with his direction. He was constructive in how he wants you to sing a little bit differently, and bring out the meaning of the music.
And the experience of just watching Pop, because he directed with his head and his expressions, and so everybody was like part of that, the feeling experience. And
I agree. I think every time we sang, there was that collective niceness.
yeah,
And he had a twinkle in his eye all the time.
I think we were all his children in a way. He and Mom didn't have any other children, and so we were part of a family. The choir together and in relationship to them.
Yeah, we were like a family, and that was inherited from the way that Dr. Finney composed the choir. He wanted it to be a warm family, and they cared for him a lot. He was a wonderful man, sensitive, and was a father figure to many of them. I was more aware of continuing a tradition. We have Brother James there, and the other tradition is the music camp. And that was a thing that surprised me, that when I came to Pitt, there's going to be a camp? Benny said, yes, that's where we learn to process, and that's where you'll learn the first 5 weeks of music during that camp. And something that came out of it is another Finnish tradition. On Sunday morning, he would give a talk. But these talks were, quite moving, and I felt some pressure to continue to do that because his were so successful. 5 of those talks that he gave at the choir camps make up that little booklet called "We Have Made Music."
I can like remember the first time I heard those essays, and it really spoke to me how special HCC was. I wasn't just in my high school chamber choir. In that moment, I knew that this was an organization with a lot of love in it and a lot of time and expertise that goes into singing together. And I think that is really what I took away from that experience, was how special, I guess, for lack of better words, HCC is, and that this was an organization that I was going to definitely enjoy being in.
The way that Pop talks about the choir and about how the choir work together and how much they love Brother James, it makes you feel like you're part of that too, and you're part of something bigger, because you don't really think about while you're doing your day to day, how you're part of history of something, but it makes you feel like something, like you're part of something bigger.
And I think like us knowing about it years after hearing it for the first time, it's like very moving. Like I see people crying. Like I think I've cracked a tear or two hearing Dr. Rice read it, and yeah, it's just very impactful.
Well, it was a camp. It was, they had, I think it was a Camp Conakry. There were various sessions of rehearsals during the couple of days we were there. And then the most memorable part of skits. Some of the guys concocted a way of, Mom and Pop's car was a rather small one. It was a Morris Minor. And all of a sudden the doors of the lodge opened up and in drove the Morris Minor into the lodge hall. The guys had somehow gotten the keys to the car from Mom and Pop's car, and they drove it in. And that's my big memory of choir camp.
But also choir camp was learning a lot of music. And
playing tricks on one another and
doing skits.
there was always
the
skits.
Yeah.
They were hysterical.
What I really like is Team Frolic, which is new in the Rice era. But we play games and like we put on skits, and it's a time for everyone to like bring out their personality.
I'm from Philadelphia suburb.
And it really helps us bond because like we're all just having fun together. And it's nice to see like Team Frolic come up with new things each semester. And it's just like a really fun time at choir.
The highlight, well, other than being all together, was the first night we were all asleep in the cabins. And all of a sudden the boys came running over, banging on the doors, shouting, hurry up, to the Aurora Borealis. In Ohio, who expects the Aurora Borealis? We grabbed blankets and ran out to this big field and just laid on our backs and watched the Aurora Borealis. It was just magnificent.
I was always concerned about how the music was going to happen, because as the director, the idea starts with you pass it on to the choir, and they make it into something, and then it kind of comes back to you. So there's a certain oneness of the director with the choir. But what I noticed most, and this again goes back to Finney, that the kids love to sing. And I had been in choirs for, many years, but when I left rehearsal, we were through singing. Finney's choirs, and then, of course, mine, and because it just carried on, they would leave the rehearsal singing. They just loved to sing. And Finney mentioned many times, he said, our kids would rather sing than eat. Clearly, they're making it music. And there's a certain oneness brought us all together to do that.
I needed a place to belong when I was here. I love singing, and so that's the first thing I did that semester, even though there was no orientation because I came in January, not September. As I said before, it was a highlight to be part of.
So singing was always a part of my life. My father had been a musician also, so I always wanted to continue singing and have music still be a part of my life. And the first semester I was a little timid about doing that, so I waited till the next time, and was so glad and wish I had done it first.
Like thinking back to like my freshman year to me now, like I have learned so much about singing and choir, and like it like makes me upset thinking I will like never be in a group like this like ever again.
Having people who care about performing arts, being able to experience that with others who appreciate them too was very special. You know, it's good to find people who do, that you can spend time with and then discuss it, you know, afterwards.
I learned a lot about music.
You learned a lot of music.
Yeah, I learned a lot of music, but learned a lot about it also. I learned to, I don't have any sisters, so I learned to love my sisters. And
Likewise.
to realize that these people will probably be friends for a long time.
But you were with the same people and in the same director year after year. So that was a steadying, kind of force, and that was good. You know, to have that you can count on and look forward to.
And every school day, you'd look forward to the end of the classes and getting upstairs for rehearsal.
I just think it speaks volumes about how special this organization is and how much it means to us, that the first thing that comes to mind is family and community and togetherness and unity. Like, that's so special to me and so important that that's the first thing that comes to our mind. And like you said, I think that seriously makes our music so much better because we're so locked into each other and the moment and savoring every note that it makes us so much such better musicians.
Mm-hmm. I said I was gonna say our companionship makes our musicianship better.
Yeah.
Because not only is there no urge to feel better than anyone else, I want to be better for my peers. I want to better my musicianship skills so I can so my choir can be the best that we can be. You know, Dr. says everyone needs to spend time outside of choir, and even if I don't have time, I make time because I know all my friends are working so hard, and for us to be a good choir, we all have to work hard. So I think that motivates me to work hard because this is our family first.
We were all really serious about learning the music and doing our best too. You know, there was that common bond. You know, people weren't just there just to spend some time. No, we really were intent on doing our best.
The love for singing is obviously still there. The pride, there is a pride, certainly. It was apparent during my day, and I'm sure it's apparent to you in the choir today. You still have the building, the Heinz Chapel, as your connecting point. And we loved that building. I mean, we sang weekly there. We got to know it well. And I have to tell you that it was an inspiring atmosphere. I know countless of times in rehearsal, things were ready to be performed. But when we got to the chapel, it was ever so much more beautiful. And it was only after I left Pitt that I became more and more aware of its legacy. And in that regard, that legacy was helped by Brother James there.
I feel like every time this year we've sang it, I get emotional, but I'm just a sentimental person. I remember at the last concert of our winter concert series, I could barely even sing it. I barely got through it because it means so much to me and to all of us that it comes over you like a wave. Just because there's just so much history in there, and it makes me think about all the other times that I've sung it in the chapel, and it makes you reflective of your 4 years.
It's fresh every time, but it also is nostalgic.
Well, we've been singing it for 63 years.
It was always nice to be invited back up to join the present choir, to join in and sing that.
Yeah, it's interesting to think that there were people just like us, our same age, 70 years ago, singing that same song.
On the same campus. in Pittsburgh.
Same chapel.
Same chapel.
My experience gave me time and experience to grow into myself. But by the time I was ready to move on, I knew who I was.
Like I've talked to alumni before, and we see them. When it was a special moment when we saw them in England as well. But like hearing them really speak about their experience and having it so similar to my own was just like moving in a way that like I'm gonna remember that moment forever, because it goes to show how much HCC has meant to every single generation, and the way that for lack of a better word, vibe of the group has always been to love each other and to respect each other and to make beautiful music together. Like, it moved me in such a way that I've never felt before.
Oh, the camaraderie, the friendships that developed, that lasted over the years.
And I consider it to really be one of the best decisions I ever made in my life. It really was. One that's just sustained this whole time for 63 years.
So the choir camp and the Brother James there and the building itself are the glue that hold generations of choir members together.